Today's lesson, we're going to talk about percentage. So we're going to learn how to change from fraction or decimal to the percent and percent to fraction or decimals. We need to understand the percent literally means per 100, right? Percent means per 100. So it means that you're dividing with 100. Right? You're looking for part of 100. That's what percent is. So they have some reading that you can do, how to convert from fractions to percent, decimals to percent, percent to decimal, right? We will go into the example. Example 1a, you see the fractions. If you wanted to change fractions to percent, first thing you need to do is changing to decimal first. So 1 over 4, if you wanted to change to decimal, you're basically doing dividing numerator over denominator. So it will be 1 divided by 4. Since 4 do not go into 1, it will be 0. And then you can create 0 after the decimals. And then it makes it 10. So when you divide 10 with 4, you get 2. 2 times 4 is 8. When you subtract, you get difference of 2. And if you create another 0, because you can create many zeros you like to after the decimal, right? 4 goes into 25 times. So converting 1.4 into decimal is going to be 0.25. Once you convert it into decimals, then you're going to multiply by 100. Or you will say moving decimal to space to right, make a bigger number, right? That will give you 25%. Again, if you have a decimal, then you multiply by 100 or move decimal to space to right. That will give you 0.02 as 2%. So this means it will be 235%, right? So remember, decimal, you're going to multiply by 100 to change to percent. It means when we wanted to change back to percent into decimal, you're going to divide by 100, right? Okay, what about this one? We have fraction given, we wanted to change write it into decimal, so I will do 3 divided by 5. I get 0.6. Change it to percent, move the decimal to the right 2 space. That will give me 60%. Or multiply by 100. Either method will be same percent. If you have a decimal given, 0.02, percent will be multiplied by 100, so it will be 2%. Fractions, changing decimal to fractions. You're going to write decimal place. How many decimal place you have right here, right? That into the numerator. And you don't really need to write 2 in front of 2. 0 in front of 2, so the numerator will be just 2. Denominator depends on how many decimal place you have, that many 0 in a tens value you're going to have, right? So since 2 decimal place, you're going to need 2 zeros. So it'll be 2 over 100. All you need to do after that is reducing, simplifying that fractions. So it will be 1 over 50. What about if you have percent given, 72%? We wanted to make it decimal, which means dividing with 20, means dividing with 100. So going this direction, you need to make sure divide by 100. So then making 72 smaller and move the decimal 2 space to the left, you get 0.72. From the decimal, fraction is going to be 72 over 20, so it will be 100. When you reduce that, that gives you 18 over 25. So decimal to fractions, whatever that's after decimal place will be on the numerator, and you don't really need to write 0 in front of values. And then 3 decimal place means you're going to have 3 0. That makes it 1,000. When you reduce it, it will be 1 over 40. Decimal to fraction, multiply by 100. So it will be 2.5%. The last one, mixed number. We know this mixed fraction is same as improper fraction of 2 times 4 plus 1, so which is 9 over 4. Well, I don't know where I got those numbers, but it will be 2, right? Let me erase that. 2. I guess my head was thinking about my decimal already, since your decimal will be 4.5, right? And then decimal is going to be, you can do dividing, right? 9 divided by 2. Or just look at the mixed number. That's going to be your whole value of the decimal. 1/2 is 0.5, right? So you could do that. Or just do the divisions after you change it to improper fraction. Either way, you get the same. You should get the same fraction, decimal. And then decimal change to percent. You're going to multiply by 100, so it will be 450%. Next example we're going to look at it is, what about if we have word problems that's related to percent, right? One thing we need to remember is some of the formulas you see. In order to get percent, you do the part over whole, right? That's how you're going to get percent. Or if you wanted to get a part, you're going to do percent times whole. Another formula that I like to use frequently is over of equal percent over 100. Or you will say part over whole equal percent over 100, right? And I'm going to show you where and how I'm going to use these formulas with the example here. So example 1, you have 243 people out of 400. What percent is this, right? So percent. You're trying to get percent, and in order to get percent is going to be part over whole number. So this is the whole number, and this is going to be part. So you will have 243. Well, let me use the different color. 243 divided by 400. And that will give you 0.6075, and that's going to be decimal. So decimal change to percent, you're going to multiply that by 100, so it will be 60.75%. Right? What about the next problem? Sale tax in town is 9.4%. How much tax will pay on $140 purchase, right? So trying to figure out the tax of the price is just basically multiplying. And when you're multiplying, you wanted to change percent into decimal. And that will give you $13.16. So if you wanted to figure out how much total that person will pay when they're purchasing $140 item with 9.4% tax, you just need to add them up. But what they're asking is just how much is going to be taxed, so you don't need to do that additions here. So then if we're looking at example 3, it say a lender require a minimum down payment of 12% of the value of the home. You have $22,020 cash available to use as the down payment toward a home. You wanted to figure out the maximum home value that you can finance. So this is how much you have, but this had to be 12% if you wanted to purchase the maximum value of the home, right? So then maximum value of the home is going to be whole, and then this number is going to be a part. So this is when I'm going to use that formula I was talking about, right? So it will be is over of equals percent over 100, or part of over whole, right? So is going to be a part, so it will be 22,020, and then the whole value is what we're trying to figure it out, and that had to be 12%. Right? So when we use this formula, we do the cross multiplications. It should be equals to same. So you have 12% times x equals to 22,020 times 100. And isolate x by dividing both sides by 12. That will be your x value. And when you plug in those numbers, multiplication and divisions, you get something close to 183,500. So that will be the maximum price of the homes that person can buy with cash available with 22,020. Because the mortgage company requires you to pay 12%. Next example, example 4. I want you to read the problem and see if you'll be able to answer it. So pause it and read problem and see what do you think. Okay, so if you read the problems, you will notice they're talking about two different percentage. So two different topic of the percentage. In this case, you will not be able to compare it. So in this problem, you should not be able to find out the percent because they are talking about different topic. What about example 5? Again, pause the video and see if you understand what they're talking about and see if you can figure out the solutions. And these problems also, it's not enough information to find out the overall. It mentions 40% of 2 points gold, 30% of 3 points gold, right? But then what about total 2 points gold? How many was available, right? Or how many that he was able to do it? What about how many 3 points gold total, right? So they didn't give a total number of the gold. So again, not enough information. This is not the end of the percentage. We have more sections that we're going to look at different types of percentage problems.